reality for South Africans and businesses. But who can afford to survive it? Up to 10 hours of load shedding a day translates to costly interventions in an already pressured economic environment. Both businesses and consumers fast running out of options on how to survive in a worsening crisis.
As a business, I also have to buy things from other people. You've had issues where they would tell you upfront that farmers are struggling to produce because they can't pump water. That's just an example. Just like last week, we couldn't find spinach because our supplier does not have and their supplier does not have. You have people that are growing chickens. I think about last week or so, there was an issue where there were videos circulating, I think, from a heat wave. So with load shedding, a lot of people lost a lot of chicken that they're farming.
The blackouts have been cited as a threat to food security. The ripple effects are devastating.
How many liters? 7,000 liters.
Farmers, a critical part of the food chain, have been crippled.
This thing is destroying us. It is making life challenging, it's uncomfortable, it's horrible, and it's making life and doing business in this country basically impossible. For us, we need electricity to be able to milk our cows first of all, and people ask, do we have generators? Yes, we do have generators to milk the cows. However, the generators are not set up to run these lengths of hours.
Experts have described the country's current woes as an existential crisis.
People die in hospitals. People have to be thrown out of mortuaries. Children suffer from education. So the social implications of this are very, very, very wide, and the impacts are to be felt, as you say, all businesses. They don't have the capacity to go and buy a generator because the generator is expensive in the first place. The diesel to keep that going, it's very, very expensive. An inverter, because the inverter doesn't replace payment for Eskom energy. It just pulls the energy and stores it there.
The power cuts have galvanized some into action.
Pansy with 18.65%. Pansy. Forward to energy security. Forward.
In last year's State of the Nation address, President Cyril Ramaphosa acknowledged that the electricity crisis was one of the biggest threats to economic and social progress. Ramaphosa also announced the birth of the Economic Recovery Plan against the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic, aimed at reviving the country's ailing economy. However, the efforts are being hampered by the rolling blackouts.
We must be specific this year as to what is going to be done specifically to deal with the issue of a load shedding so that we can grow this economy. But the message will be the same, because there will be no reason why the president would say something different when what he spoke about last year has not been achieved.
This year will mark 100 years of Eskom's existence, a centenary for the backbone of South Africa's energy sector, marred by allegations of corruption, maladministration, and now sabotage. In an effort to improve the functioning of the power utility, government announced a new policy: the unbundling of Eskom.
You can't hold anybody accountable because this litany of things that are talked about are either just hapless intentions. For instance, one of the things is Eskom will be divided into three. It's just probably it has now been divided into three, by which we can actually assess development. I mean, that's an input measure. What we need is an outcome measure, which is, where is the electricity? There's no electricity now. They have done all that. What mark do we give? We give 100% that was done? We give 0.
Load shedding has also affected water distribution in some parts of the country. Last week, Rand Water confirmed that it experienced challenges in water supply due to power outages. leaving residents in parts of Johannesburg and Tshwane frustrated. So too was Rudia Kanyenda, the owner of a car wash in Auckland Park.
Because of load shedding, we buy like fuel. So the amount that I make basically is like I'm buying the fuel for me to keep operating. So there isn't much profit. Because if I put 300 and I wash 2 or 3 cars, that money is already gone. That's a loss for me.
How many people do you employ, and have you had to lay off anybody?
Yes, I had to lay off some because I can't possibly have all the staff here, because some days when there's load shedding or there's no water.
Energy Minister Qodashe says load shedding is costing South Africa 1 billion rand a day. This while projections indicate that load shedding will persist for the next 2 years, a source of little relief for businesses and communities in the country. And with the president expected to deliver the State of the Nation address on Thursday, small business owners like Stembiso, Rudia and thousands of others await words of comfort on how government intends to cushion the blow. Zoleka Qodashe, SABC News, Johannesburg.